Hi. Hopefully today we can make an app that uses the picker view, which is one of the objects in the object library in Xcode, and we will make our app do like text to voice. So we'll type in some words and then the app will say those words, and we'll use the picker view to change the accent. So we're going to start off with a single view app. So select single view app. Next. I'm going to call it Say It Tutorial because we're doing text to speech. You do not need core data or these boxes checked off. The language is Swift. And just make sure you're saving it someplace where you can find it. Alright, so we have our project set up. I'm going to show you really quickly what the final project will look like. So people will be able to type into the text box and then hit the play button.
Hello world.
And it will say whatever's in the text box, and you'll be able to change the accent with the picker view.
Hello world.
For different accents. So yeah, this is the app
Hello world.
we're going to create, and if we have time, we'll add these sliders as well. Alright, so we're going to start by going to our storyboard. When I open up the object library, I'm going to hold down Option and open up the library, and that way it will stay open and I can add a few different elements. I think I'll put a label at the top. We'll need a text field where the user can enter in the text. Of course, we'll need a picker view. And then we'll need a button. And starting out, that looks pretty good for our storyboard. We might want to go into the identity inspector a little bit, and we want to go click on the one that looks like a shield. We might want to change some of these. So we give it a title. Oops. And I want this one to be a little bit bigger, so just a little bit easier for the user. And why don't we give it some placeholder text. It's over here, it says placeholder text. We'll just tell the user to enter some text there so they know what to do. We don't really have to do anything with our picker view right now. And maybe we would just want to change our button to say like play or something. And it looks really small, so maybe we'll make it a little bit bigger. And I'm going to change the text color to white. Alright, so for our storyboard, looks like we're all set up. So let's open up our assistant editor. And we can connect some of these objects. I'm going to control click and drag from the text field over to like line 13 about. I'll call it text field 1 just because I don't have a better name for it right now. And I'm also going to connect the picker view. I think I'll call it picker. So I'm going to hold down control. I'm going to click on the object and I'm going to drag it over to line 16. So I'll call it picker view. Looks good. I can connect that. And so I've connected these two outlets above view did load. For the action, for the button, I'm going to connect that below view did load. This is view did load right here. So usually outlets come up above that, and the actions or the buttons or the actions will come below. So I'm going to hold down control, click on the button, and drag it over to like line 24. I want to change this to UI button. Touch up inside is just your normal button touch. And I'm going to say connect. And there is my button connected down below. Alright, the next thing I do is going to be inside the view controller. So I'm going to click on single view and go to view controller, and I'll just make that a little bit bigger. Okay, so we have to create the data for our picker view, and I'm going to do that in an array. So I'm going to say let picker view items equal, and then when you do this square bracket, it knows it's going to be an array. And so I'm using British, American, Australian, Irish, South African. I'm using those because I know those are the accents that our AV synthesizer will have. So yeah, I've created an array called picker view items. So now we can connect this to our picker view. In order to connect it to our picker view, we have to make the view controller for our app. We have to make it the UI picker view delegate so that they will listen to each other, and we also have to make it the UI picker view data source so that the view controller can connect to the picker view. And we're getting an error up here, which is fine. Let's look at it really quickly. Type view controller does not conform to protocol UI picker view data source. So we need to add certain functions in order to conform to this protocol. So let's see what happens when we hit fix. Okay. It gives us our function stub, which is great. I don't really like where it put it. I'm going to move it down below view did load. And I think there's a few more that we have to add to this. So the first one was number of rows in component. This is number of components. Alright, so let's start with this one right here. Function, this picker view function called number of rows and components. So we want a row for each one of our accents here. So, and we want to return that. You see it's how it's going to return an an integer, it's going to return a number. It's going to return the number of rows in this picker view, and the number of rows in the picker view will be the number of accents we have up here. So we are going to say return, and we called it picker view items dot count. So what dot count does is it just counts the number of items, and that's the number it will return. So that way it will know how many rows are in our component picker view. Okay. And the next one is a number of components, and we just want one. We're going to have one row of components, so we don't want any other rows, so I'm just going to return one. Alright, there's one more function I want to add for our picker view, and that's title for row at this one right here. And again, this one's going to return something. This is going to return a string. It's going to return the title of the row. So I'm going to return picker view items row. Alright, the final thing we have to do to connect the data is self dot picker view dot delegate equal to self, and self dot so this will connect our picker view items to our picker view. So if we press play, we should see British, American, Australian, Irish, these different accents in our picker view. So let's check to make sure. Hey, there they are. So we're able to select these different accents. Awesome. We've been able to connect the data with the picker view, so all that's going well. What we need to do now is we need to put in another function. It's a picker view function, did select row at. So if you start typing in did select row, it will autofill for you. You can just hit enter. This is our last picker view function. What I want to do in here is when the user picks one of the accents from our array, I want to store that information in a variable. So I will create a new variable. I'm going to set it to be a blank string. And in here, I'm going to put some if-else statements. So if picker view items row is equal to British, so if the person has selected British as the accent, I want to store in picker view value this string ENGB, standing for English Great Britain. For American accent, it's going to be English EN-US. So I just want to store that value so that I can put that into our speech, so that our speech component knows which accent to use. So if you want to, you can pause it so you can put this in there, but you need these if-else statements. Right, so I think we got our picker view the way we want it. Next we want to do this text-to-speech, and we need to import AV Foundation. So this is the framework, like audio-visual framework, AV Foundation. So make sure under Import UI Kit you type in Import AV Foundation. Then what we're going to do is we're going to create a constant. Let synth equal AV speech synthesizer, and a variable variable speech utter. I just tried to shorten speech utterance equals AV speech utterance string empty with an empty string. So for inside the button, we're going to say speech utter, so that variable we set before is going to be equal to, it's going to be an AV speech utterance, and the string is going to be the information from text field 1. So if you remember back in the beginning, we connected this text field and we called it text field 1. So we should be getting the text from there, and we should be turning into a speech utterance. And then speech utter dot voice, one of the parameters of speech utter is voice, and we can choose the voice. So it's going to be an AV speech synthesis voice, and the language that we're going to use is the picker view value. So either ENGB or ENUS, this information up here that we got from the picker view. And then synth.speak speech utterance. So then that should vocalize whatever the user put into the text field. So I'm going to press play and we're going to test it out. Alright, so if we put something in there and we press, let me select a different voice.
Hello world.
Seems to be working.
Hello world.
So we're getting the different accents.
Hello world. Hello world.
Yeah, so far it's working. Yeah, thanks a lot for watching this video. I think I'll make another video where we add the sliders that will change the pitch and the rate. So this will be part 1 video. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.